If your business is growing, but your days still feel messy, reactive, and way too dependent on you, the problem usually is not effort, it's not talent, it's not even demand. The problem is that growth without systems creates chaos. Stick around for the last two systems, they are huge. A lot of small business owners think that they need more time, more discipline, or better employees. Sometimes that is part of it, but more often, what they really need is a business that runs on clear systems instead of memory, urgency, and constant interruption. Because here's what happens in most small businesses. Sales come in, things get busy, everybody starts moving faster, you feel productive because your calendar is full, but behind the scenes, things are getting sloppy. Follow-up calls get missed, customers get inconsistent experiences, your team starts asking you the same questions over and over, and you become the one person holding everything together. That's not scale, that is survival with better revenue. If you want scale without chaos, here are 5 systems your small business needs. Not 50, not some massive corporate playbook, just 5 core systems that create stability, consistency, and breathing room. The first system that is your lead management system. Now this is how new opportunities come into the business and how they get tracked, followed up with, and moved towards a sale. And this is where a lot of small businesses leak money without realizing it. You get a website form, a Facebook message, a referral, a text, a voicemail. Somebody says they are interested, and then what happens? In a lot of businesses, that lead lives in somebody's inbox, somebody's memory, or on a sticky note. That is not a system. That's a gamble. A lead management system answers a few simple questions. Where do leads come from? Where do they go? Who follows up? How fast do they get a response? What happens if they do not answer the first time? If you do not have clear answers to those questions, you are probably losing sales before the sales conversion even starts. A real system can be simple. One place for every lead to be captured. One follow-up process, one standard for response time, one way to track where that lead starts today. That alone can increase revenue without increasing traffic, ads, or working hours. Now, the second system is your sales system. Not just selling harder, not winging it. A real sales system. A lot of business owners think that they have a sales problem when what they really have is a consistency problem. One week they close well, the next week, not so much. Now, one employee sounds confident, another unsure, one customer gets a great consultation, another gets a rushed conversation, and no next step. A sales system creates consistency. It tells you how the sale happened, from the first conversation to signed agreement or paid invoice. It gives structure to discovery, pricing, objections, follow-up, and closing. Now, that does not mean that it sounds robotic. It means that your customer gets clarity and your team knows how to guide the conversation. For example, if somebody says, I need to think about it, what happens next? Now, if your answer is, well, it depends, that means the system is weak. There should be a next step. There should be a follow-up time frame. There should be a way to keep good opportunities from disappearing just because the day got busy. When your sales system is strong, revenue becomes more predictable. And predictable revenue is what makes smart growth possible. Now, the third system is your delivery system. This is the part where owners ignore when things are going well, and then it becomes the exact reason that things start falling apart when the business grows. Your delivery system is how the work gets done after the customer says yes. Onboarding, scheduling, communication, fulfillment, quality control, handoff completion, all of it. If you sell the work well but deliver it inconsistency, growth will create stress instead of profit. This is where teams start dropping balls. This is where customers get frustrated. This is where the owner gets pulled back into everything because nobody knows exactly what done is supposed to look like. A delivery system should make the customer experience feel steady, not random. Every customer should know what happens next. Every team member should know their role. Every project or service should move through defined steps. Now think about it this way. If 3 new customers signed up today, would your team know exactly what to do without asking you 10 questions? If the answer is no, your delivery system needs work. Now, a strong delivery system protects your reputation and your time at the same time. The fourth system is your communication system. This one matters more than most people think because communication problems get disguised as people problems. You think your employee is careless. You think your customer is difficult. You think your manager is dropping the ball. Sometimes that is true, but a lot of times the real issue is that communication is happening in too many places with no rules, no ownership, and no standard. One update is a text message, another is an email, another is in somebody's head, another gets mentioned in passing in the hallway, and then everybody assumes somebody else handled it. That is how confusion grows. A communication system defines where things go, when they get communicated, and who is responsible for what. Where do urgent issues go? Where do project updates go? Where do customer notes live? Where do internal questions get answered so people stop asking the same thing every week? You do not need more talking. You need clear communication, because when communication is messy, everything feels harder than it should. Decisions take longer, mistakes multiply, the owner gets dragged back into the middle because everybody wants clarity from the one person who knows the full picture. The goal is not for you to be the communication hub. The goal is for the business to have a communication system that works without you being in every conversation. Now, the fifth system is your reporting system. This is the system that tells you what is actually happening in the business, not what it feels like. A lot of business owners run the business based on emotion. They feel busy, so they assume things are fine. They feel stressed, so they assume something is broken. They look at the bank account and try to make decisions from one number. That is not enough. A reporting system gives you visibility, how many leads came in this week, how many converted, what was the average dollar sale, where are projects getting stuck, what is the team capacity, what offers are more profitable, what is marketing channel is actually producing and paying customers. When you have reporting, you stop guessing. You stop reacting emotionally to every good day or bad day. You can see patterns. You can make decisions earlier. You can fix small issues before they become expensive issues. And let me say this clearly. Reporting is not just for big companies. It is for any business owner who wants to stop flying blind. Now, here's the part that matters most. You do not need to build these 5 systems perfectly before you grow. You need to build them enough so growth stops creating more chaos. That is the shift. Most owners wait until things are breaking to create systems. But by then, they are building while they're overwhelmed. They are trying to fix the plane in the air. A better approach is to look at where the business depends on memory, heroics, or constant interruptions and turn those areas into repeatable systems. Start simple. What is one part of your lead follow-up that you can standardize this week? What is one sales step that you can needs a clear process? What is one piece of delivery that should not depend on you anymore? What is one communication that is happening in the wrong place? What numbers should you be looking at every single week? That is how a business starts to scale without chaos. Not through more hustle, through better systems, because the goal is not just to grow a business that makes money. The goal is to build a business that works, a business that delivers consistently, a business your team can operate, a business that does not fall apart every time you step away for a day. And if that is what you want, then stop asking how to get busier and start asking what systems this business is missing. That question will change the way you grow. Now, if this hit home, save this and come back to it when things start feeling messy again. And then look at your business honestly. Which of these 5 systems is the weakest right now? That is probably the next place to focus.